Welcome everyone. It is 6 o'clock in the municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc. Welcome everyone to the regular council session on Monday, October 7th, 2024. The municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc acknowledges that it is located on Treaty 21 territory. We are thankful to the generations of people who have taken care of this land, including the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, the Munsee Delaware First Nation, and the Oneida Nation of the Thames. Roll call, everyone is present. Motion to approve the agenda. Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Hippel, all in favor? Carried. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Okay. Seeing none. We have delegation this evening. Very pleased to be joined by the 1st Strathroy and 1st Mount Bridges Scouts. Mr. Dunsmore, I didn't know if you want to make a brief presentation or just come up and purchase an apple.
Hello everyone, I'm Ken Dunsmore, with a group commissioner with 1st Strathroy. Those that know me know I haven't got my succession plan completely in place yet. Been doing this for a long time. But welcome, we're glad to be here, and thank you for having the Scouts visit tonight. I'd like to do some introduction of the kids. Would that be okay? I'll do it as quickly as I can.
That would be great.
Okay, awesome. So from our Mount Bridges group, we have Leo. Leo with us? Or is he one that hasn't showed yet? Okay, we have Emily. Stand right up, Emily. Let everybody see you. Do your little wave. That's a girl. Okay. And Oliver? Which Oliver? No, we have 2 Olivers. And we have some Scouters. We have Mandy, Scouter Mandy. And I understand we have another Scouter here in the group, Greg Willis. Stand up, Greg. Say hi. Be recognized. Thank you very much. We are expecting a few more, so they may pop in as we go through this. From our Strathroy group, the Timbers family hasn't shown up yet, but we have Oliver Newman, okay, and we have Max with the Beaver Colony. You like the hat? Cool hat, eh? And his parent, Abby. Abby, where's Abby? She's downstairs. Oh, she's still downstairs, waiting for some leggings. And then we have Elliot, a scout from our group. Stand right up, Elliot. Big tall. Come on. That boy. And Scouter Lauren Monteith, his mom, who also is our treasurer. So anybody that does treasuring jobs knows the tremendous amount of work that is to keep a group going. And we have Dan Chamberlain. There's Dan. And his mother, Scouter Deb, Troop Scouter Deb Chamberlain. And we have and Kash and Akashna. Did I get that right? Didn't get it right. Akanshaw. Did I get that right?
This Akanksha.
Akanksha. Okay, awesome. Stand up there. You're in Cubs. And her mom, and a pack Scouter, Chivy. And we have Reese here. Reese is a Scout. There he is. And we have Morgan, he's a Cub.
Hello.
That's it. Good one, Morgan. And their mom, Scouter, pack Scouter, Bacon Wright. I might mention that the Wright family is transferred from London into Strathroy within the past year. And her mom is quite active in the Cruisers organization in town. So Megan was in Scouts in London, I think, with 80th London. As soon as she knew she was coming to town, she gave us a call and said, "Can I get in with the group?" And certainly. So that's very nice. We're expecting Cornelis later, but we also have Scouter Ed Thus standing over here, one of the hardest working guys in our group. He just never stops working, and he's like the engine that drives things year by year. Can we present our apples now?
You know what, beforehand, I will buy the first apple, but thank you for that. And I like to think that in that group of young people, there may be a future counselor or mayor, so.
You never
We
know.
have them up here, so check. I'll come up and I'll buy the first apple. How's that,
Awesome.
Ken?
Okay, come on, guys. Who's got the baskets? You can, you can run up around on the main floor over here, okay? Super, so we have 3 different tables there, so.
Yep. If somebody's come here and I'll buy one.
Someone in the mirror first.
Somebody has to come
Some
here.
here. You come right up. I like your hat. It's a nice hat.
So scary.
Thank you. Okay. Put that in there. And there you go. Thank you.
Next one. What if you can come up this side and sell? Yeah. Sell apples over here.
Here, lifesaver.
You can do this one thing.
Rachel also went to Sandy, she'd be down $20.
She should have just put in a fire.
Need somebody to come up here. Dan, you want to send somebody up here?
Okay,
Up here.
do we have enough? Okay, let's see.
I just
Come
bought
on
one.
right up here.
There we go.
Thank you.
We didn't have a practice night for this, so,
That's okay.
we're bringing it. So is there anyone that we missed? Okay, anybody in the audience there?
Thank you for that, Ken.
I would like to mention that the Mount Bridges group has been operating since 1953, doing a fantastic job. And the Strathroy group has been operating since 1908, and still doing a great job. Apple Day was officially recognized in 1932 in Canada, and the first group to hold an Apple Day was in St. John, New Brunswick, followed shortly after by St. Catharines. Both of our groups are doing extremely well, and registration is up again this year, so since COVID knocked us back a little bit, we've just been growing every single year. And we have a large number of new volunteers that are coming out to act as scouters to continue on with the wonderful program. Scouts Canada is experiencing a surge in membership right across Canada, and they've made plans to upgrade our websites to allow for the huge growth that happened this year, and they're expecting it to increase next year. This past summer, I mentioned Scouter Ed. Scouter Ed led a group of 24 scouts and ventures and 6 scouters for a week's camping in Halliburton Scout Reserve. Anybody heard of Halliburton Scout Reserve? It's over 100 years old, one of the oldest reserves in the country. And it's a go-to place for scouting. Like, it's just, you have to go there once to experience it. Everything is water-based. So if you want to go from point A to point B, you don't walk a trail, you get in your canoe and you paddle. So it's a great week. Also this summer, a small group of ventures and rovers traveled to BC, to Vancouver Island, and they worked a jamboree out there as offers of service or staff members. They had to actually pay their own way to get out there, but they got to work all week in what was 40-degree heat at that time, that summer in August, mid-August. Remember the heat waves that went across the country? 4,000 scouts attended that camp. And so Strathroy is well represented by your scout groups as they provide excellent Scouts Canada programs for youth of all ages. We want to thank Strathroy-Caradoc for your help and your helpful staff for your continued support. So if there's any questions, fire them away. If not, we'll wrap it up and let you carry on with the fun part of the meeting, right?
Any questions for Ken? Thank you, Ken.
Okay.
We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll see you next year,
Yeah, for sure.
if not sooner.
And you'll see us we'll be on the street on the 19th. We'll be at every retail store you go to on the 19th, so make sure you got some change in your pocket. Actually, for the first time this year, we're gonna have a tap system, so, because people just don't have to change anymore, right? So, we're gonna try that out this year. Okay,
All right.
Okay, guys, we can head out now.
Warm me up. Defend yourself with that.
In the right uniform, nobody's gonna ask me.
You go around it. It's
That'd be feng shui.
you gotta wear this down.
Got some nice Scott going.
Just wanted to go over saying, Greg, thanks for helping out with my group.
Not a problem. Have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah.
My grandmother used
All
to
right,
take my
folks,
soup.
we'll get back to
Shut
our
up and go to sleep.
regularly scheduled meeting, public meeting number 1. Motion that the public meeting to consider an application for a zoning bylaw amendment for the property located at 124 Burn Street, Strathroy, be hereby open. Someone bring a motion. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Pammer. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Mr. Williams, you can do the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So this is an application for 124 Burn Street. It's a rezoning application. It is coming to you after a consent application was approved conditionally in June of this year for a semi-detached dwelling. The property, as noted in the report, is an R1 zone currently, and they're looking for it to be rezoned to R2. This would recognize or allow for a semi-detached dwelling, which isn't permitted in an R1, and it would recognize a slight deficiency in lot frontage that is as a result of you're splitting the lot. The requirement is 10 meters per lot, and this would be closer to 9 meters. So before you have a report. It goes through the analysis of the application and how this fits with the intensification policies of the PPS, intensification policies of the county and local official plan. This would be a development application that would be on full municipal services. Again, the policies support this, and it's for that reason that planning staff are in support of the application, but I would note that consultation process resulted in no comments or concerns from any of the departments, and I will just leave it at that, subject to any questions that one might have about the application.
Thanks, Tim. Are there any comments in support of the proposed rezoning? Seeing none. Any comments in opposition to the proposed rezoning? Any comments and questions from members of council? Councillor Wilsey.
From the chair to, don't know which title, not director, to the planner. Do both units have their own separate water and sewer, so there's no Y connections, there's no shared services, there's 2 sewer connections, 2 water connections, and that's a condition, this one?
Through the chair to Councillor Wilsey. Yes, so there will be 2 service connections for each of the lots once the lot is separated into 2, or as part of that, of this severance application, that is that is one of the requirements. And so as part and parcel of that process, they will be establishing those 2 separate services coming from the main trunk within Burn Street, straight to each of the lots. No Y connections or other things that you mentioned.
Councillor Pelkman.
Yeah, just for my own benefit, through the mayor to the planner, are these gonna be single wide car driveways or double wide?
Through the mayor to Councillor Pelkman, they'd be single wide just slightly larger than the garage opening, that would meet the bylaw requirements for a lot of this frontage. We have limitations on it so that they would be a single space would be available.
Any other questions, comments, and concerns? Okay. Seeing none, motion that the public meeting consider the application be hereby closed. Councillor Wilsey, second by Councillor Kennis. All in favor? Carried. There are 3 recommendations in front of you. We'll deal with the first one. Motion to receive the report first. Councillor Palmer, second by Councillor Kennis. All in favor? Carried. There are 2 recommendations if there's no opposition. Councillor, Deputy Mayor, I apologize.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that it be approved and further that the bylaw be referred over to the constitutional bylaws section.
Okay, someone to second. Councillor Brennan, any questions? All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Thanks, Tim. There is 1 set of minutes in front of us this evening to be approved. That is the regular council meeting minutes of September 16th, 2024. Someone bring a motion to approve. Councillor Kennis, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? Carried. There are a number of communications this evening. Motion to receive them first. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Kennis. Anyone wish to speak to any particular item? Councillor Palmer.
Strathroy-Caradoc Housing.
7.1. Any others? Councillor Brennan.
7.3.
Okay, thank you. Any others? Councillor Wilsey.
7.5.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Palmer, you wish to speak to 7.1.
So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but we have 2 letters here coming from the lawyer who's acting for Caradoc Housing, Strathroy-Caradoc Housing Corporation. And part of our getting everything lined up for ONCA included renaming Caradoc Housing Corporation to Strathroy-Caradoc Housing Corporation. And apparently the government, there's some difficulties or some concerns when you put housing in the name. So the lawyer is asking that council agree that we are, as a council, okay with the name change from Caradoc Housing Corporation to Strathroy-Caradoc Housing Corporation, and that council consent to using the word housing in the name.
Any questions? Deputy Mayor.
In looking, sorry, I knew you were going to do that.
You sure have.
In looking at the minutes from the previous meeting, I think we did that. I stand to be corrected, but I was just reviewing them again.
I think Councillor Derbyshire kicked it back to us, Deputy Mayor.
I did.
Is that what happened to it?
Yeah.
Without me looking any further? Thank you.
Councillor Derbyshire.
So since getting this, I'll put a motion on that we move forward with allowing them to use housing or whatever we need to do. Give our blessing, whatever the bylaw, like, I think we already made a bylaw to do that, but whatever they're asking for, then we'll do it.
Okay, so why don't I read the motion that the council of the corporation municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc consents to the use of the term housing in the registered name of the Strathroy-Caradoc Housing Corp. And further, the council authorized mayor and clerk to execute the consent document. You bring the motion, Councillor Derbyshire?
Yep.
Someone to second? Councillor Kennis? All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Thank you for that. Councillor Brennan, 7.3, I apologize.
Thank you, Your Worship. Rather than considering this matter tonight, I'd like to recommend that it might be appropriate to refer this back to Committee of Adjustment. This matter took place in 2021. The staff members who were largely involved in it are no longer in our employ. and I don't think we have enough information to make a decision this evening. So I would ask this be sent to Committee of Adjustment, and they can have a discussion. We can receive a report and possibly a recommendation. That'd be what I'd be moving with this tonight, but obviously it's open for discussion.
Someone to second the motion? Deputy Mayor, any other questions or concerns? Councillor Wilsey. Oops, sorry, turn my microphone on. Councillor Wilsey.
My only question, I have no issue with sending it off and discussing it later. I'm just wondering if committee adjustment is the proper committee for fine or compensation or what they're asking for. I don't know if they deal much with monetary matters.
Yeah. Councillor Pelkman.
Yes, just to respond to Councillor Wilsey, because I was wondering the same thing. I think there's two things that has to happen. I think one, a timeline has to be established of what communications were held when. I do know that there was a committee of adjustment portion to this, so I think they need to satisfy their portion, then I'd come back to council for a decision.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, you have a motion that this be referred to the Committee of Adjustments. All in favor? Opposed, if any, carried. Councillor Wilsey, you want to speak to 7.5 on the blue box?
Yeah, just on that, there's something that is going forward. On the Blue Water Recycling Association, we're talking a little bit about this and what's going to be happening once the transition period for the blue box for corporations, municipalities, institutional, industrial, and corporate clients, once that runs out. Right now, the producers don't want to have to collect it. By the laws of Ontario, they don't have to. So that's going to either mean all the recycling from the municipal office, any of our parks, any corporate retail or business or institutional will all go to trash unless they're going to pay for extra recycling. So this is an important thing to look at. I don't know if it's an Ontario government one. There's a lot of lobbyists against it that are being paid by the producers. So there's a strong movement to not collect them. At least strong forces behind that. So I just think this is something we need to be cognizant of. I'm not sure a motion from the council will sway the government one way or another, but it's something that I think we should be supportive of to make sure that we can still get recycling through our institutional, corporate, and industrial clients and taxpayers.
Any questions of Councillor Wilsey? There was one item, the 7.2, the Strathroy Lions of Tree of Light. They're requesting permission to hold their 15th annual Tree of Light ceremony on Friday, November 29th, 2024, along with the municipal Strathroy-Caradoc hometown Christmas market. Someone to bring a motion to approve that. Councillor Hippel, second by Councillor Kennis. All in favor? Opposed, if any, carried. Thank you. Flip over. Start on our department reports, the financial reports. The first one is a recommendation that FIN 2024-20, section 357, application 8338, Scotchmere Drive, be received for information. Someone to bring the motion. Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Kennis. All in favor? Carried. I think this should be pretty straightforward, but Director Dakin, did you want to speak briefly?
As you said, this is straightforward. It's just the removal of a extra house on the property and therefore reconsideration of the property and the reduction of the property taxes. So they would receive a credit of $188.08 in 2024.
Any questions of the director? Seeing none, someone to bring a motion to approve that credit. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Pelkman. All in favor? Carried. Next, motion to receive report FIN 2024-21, section 357, application 313 Buchanan Street, be received for information. Someone bring a motion. Councillor Kennis, second by Councillor Palmer. All in favor? Carried. You again, Director Dakin.
Same thing holds true here, except at 313 Buchanan Street here in Strathroy, the removal of the house on the property resulted in a reduction of the assessment of $54,000, resulting in a credit of $306.30 to the property owner.
Thank you. Someone to bring a motion to approve that credit. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Wilsey. All in favor? Carried.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
just a point of order. Did we miss item 4.2 on the agenda?
No, it was, I noted,
It's under delegations, petitions, presentations. Is there anyone here to present on that? I just wondered if we missed something or if we didn't, forget it.
no, I don't think we did.
Okay,
I think
no,
we
fair enough.
received it, right?
Thank you. Okay,
Yep,
fair enough.
fair enough.
I don't think we received it.
Did we not receive it? Okay. Sorry, well, motion to receive 4.2, the petition to reopen the senior center, and thank you for the point of order. Someone to make that motion, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Canis, are there any comments on that? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving that report? Thank you. Building and planning, we have a report BBP-2024-109 regarding 39T-SC2202 and DBA 21-2022 be received for information. This is an application for draft plan of subdivision and rezoning. So I'm going to bring the motion. Councillor Canis, second by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor? Carried. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So this is an application where the public meeting was held earlier this year in March. And there were a number of items that came forward during that time to be looked at, discussed, considered. And since that time, the applicants have prepared a number of additional documents and information to address those items. And so tonight, before you is a recommendation from staff on the this item. So as you can see from this slide, just the location is in the north portion of Mount Bridges, has frontage on Falcon Bridge, but the main entrance is off of Adelaide Road. If we move to the next slide, you'll see that plan of subdivision. And I raise this one only at this point because it shows best the location of Street 3 as it reaches Falcon Bridge. That used to be further to the east, and that's been moved. That was one of the items that the neighbors to the north of Falcon Bridge, or on the north side of Falcon Bridge, raised as a concern. And so that has been addressed through a move on that particular street access over one street within the subdivision. So as we move to the next slide, you'll see the remaining, or sorry, I guess this is just a bigger version, so we can maybe move past that. And just note that there were a number of things, and here's where those come in. And I just referenced the last one out of them, and maybe I'll move to the top. There was a service demand question. Given some of the changes to the Planning Act, it allows for additional residential dwelling units as of right. And so we had asked them to provide some information about how that would increase demand. They've provided that information to the satisfaction of engineering staff. Stormwater management facilities. There was comments from those downstream of this particular subdivision about the water quality. And so the applicant and their engineer went back and redesigned the stormwater management ponds to include a different style of stormwater management pond. So they were meeting the minimum requirements under Ministry of Environment and Strathroy-Caradoc's own designs. However, they went above and beyond that with a combination dry wet pond that improved the quality of the outflow further. And that has been done to the satisfaction, again, of staff. Final noise study was provided, and the recommendations within that speak to some mitigation measures, and those are included as conditions. Final natural heritage was done, and again, those mitigation measures are included as conditions in this. As I noted earlier, there was the March 2000 1/24 public meeting. So moving from here, I will note that the staff report talks a lot about the policies that this fits within, and I would note, just to confirm, that planning staff are recommending support of the application to move forward to the county for the plan of subdivision and the rezoning to be approved by council this evening. And that is because it is meeting the provincial policy statement, the county official plan, and the local official plan. The changes to the zoning bylaw allow for this property, which is zoned currently future development and environmental protection, to be rezoned to allow for the single detached dwellings and townhouses that are proposed within the plan of subdivision, as well as a park block to be rezoned to open space, and to readjust the environmental protection zone to align with where the actual woodland is located. The environmental protection zone was slightly askew from that, and it may have been as a result of differing GIS programs and the like, but we have now had the benefit of natural heritage reporting and surveying done, and so the zone would match more accurately to that alignment. So with that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions that may come as a result of this.
Are there any questions of Mr. Williams? Okay, Councillor Wilsey.
Through the chair to Mr. Williams. In the report, I recall reading that the services along Adelaide, and not only those, but farther through town would have to be, I thought I recalled reading that the water and the sewer would have to be increased to be able to feed this subdivision and the other ones coming up. Just a question, I don't know if this is necessarily to you, but will they have to be increased further if the subdivision across the road is approved on Adelaide and Falconbridge to the south of that? And then the final one to the Director of Finance or Engineering, do the costs that we have in our development fees account for upgrading the lines that we have to feed these subdivisions?
So I'll start, and then there was kind of a...
Yep, there was a two-part.
You guys get ready. The first part of that is, right now, the lines go to an existing plan of condominium for sanitary. Water, it goes all the way up to the site. That needs to be extended. That is a DC project. That project is in the planning stage. They are preparing and working on the drawings for that. And then we would go through the regular part of the process of tendering and then construction, et cetera, et cetera. So is that part of the project financed? I guess was sort of the question, and I can get a better answer, but...
I guess maybe to be more clear on that, we talked about the extra houses and the extra capacity for the additional residential units that are going to be coming through, and I thought I read in the report that we would have to upsize from what the original pipe size was, and I just didn't know if that had been accounted for in the DC project. And this may not be for you, it may be more of an engineering question. And then through our existing lines, all the way through to the water tower for water and everything else for sanitary all the way through, just to make sure they're big enough to accommodate this and the new subdivision that's going on, or if we've looked at that.
Yeah. I think we'll start with Director Dakin, then Director Ortiz.
So I don't have the DC study in front of me, so unfortunately right now I can't really provide a concrete answer on the upsizing, or even if this one was included. I think it was included in the project, but I'm not sure about the upsizing, so I can get back to you on that one.
Okay. Any other questions? Did you have any data on that, Director Ortiz? Put you on the spot, I don't. Yeah, Mr. Williams.
It's my understanding that the DC project, or the DC study did include it, and for the section of that has not yet been constructed, it's upsizing is a part of that DC project.
We'll go with Councillor Derbyshire, then Councillor Pelton. Yield your time. Councillor Pelton.
Thank you. Mine's more of a wish than a question. I hope that blocks 111 and 110 get built first so that people don't turn around later and say, well, I didn't know that that was gonna be a different style of density. I think it would be better to have them built first in a greater number of houses as quickly as possible.
Councillor Derbyshire.
Thank you. Mine's just a question on the exiting stormwater ponds. And I know we heard that everyone's happy downstream, or is at least somewhat satisfied. Will we continue to test the water coming out of that for a significant amount of time to make sure that the water going downstream is safe for the people down there? I don't know who.
Try to figure out who can answer that. We put the director on, I don't know. Mr. Williams, did you want to?
So there's a couple of different parts to that through the chair to Councillor. The first part is that there is a part of this was to have a salt management plan, and as part of that plan, that would take us to once the system is built out. Meaning once the roads are assumed by the municipality, then it would be up to the municipality to continue monitoring and alike. But during the time in which it's a part of, or not yet assumed, then that it would be the responsibility of the developer to continuing. It's a monitoring and salt management plan that they have agreed to as part of the conditions of the application.
Any other questions? Seeing none, there are two motions. The subdivision plan be approved in principle and forwarded to the County of Middlesex for consideration. Second, the rezoning application be approved, and further the bylaw number 96-24 be referred to the consideration of bylaws section of the agenda for approval. Bring a motion. Councillor Pelkman, second by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Next is an update on the provincial planning statement. Motion to receive the report first. Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Pelkman. All in favor? Carried. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So even the title is slightly different than what we were used to. We were used to a provincial policy statement, and that's now referred to as a provincial planning statement, which is probably more accurate and helpful for us as we're moving forward, but I'll still probably call it incorrectly a provincial policy statement as we go through, but PPS nonetheless. And so there's a couple of different areas that I have prepared slides for, and I think that they're the most the best ones to highlight, and they're ones that also went to county council, so some may have seen it at that stage as well. So the first is growth management, and so the PPS changed from 20 to 30 years or up to 30 years when planning for a planning horizon. That means when we're looking at populations and other things like this, we're to look at a slightly longer horizon. That being said, the wording specifically allows for the planning horizon to be 20 years up to 30. So if you have existing documents, that they wouldn't necessarily have to change. However, in the long run, looking at 30 years is the preference of the province. They also included terminology about population projections being based on the Ministry of Finance numbers, but not just a straight extraction of those Ministry of Finance numbers, but that being the base of which you start any population projections. The terminology of municipal comprehensive review has been removed from the provincial policy statement, and so what is that? The MCRs are where municipalities go forward and look at their settlement boundary areas and expand them. That's no longer a terminology in the PPS, and instead this allows, it speaks to the consideration of need, supply, infrastructure, alternative locations, agricultural impact, and phase progression. That means that individual private landowners can make applications for private official plan amendments requesting settlement boundary expansions. This doesn't preclude a municipality from moving forward with a municipal comprehensive review. It's just not regulated, we'll call it, through the provincial policy statement. So moving on to the next slide, it's talking about agricultural position. And so one of the things that this PPS is looking at is not necessarily the protection of agricultural attributes, but looking at the agricultural system as a whole, and looking at not just what happens on the farm, but all of the inputs and components that fit into that. And that slightly more comprehensive approach is a little bit of a difference from the previous PPS. There's also additional residential unit terminology in the agricultural area, and there are specific criteria that need to be met for those, we call them ARUs, to take place. And the last item when it comes to agriculture is lot creation policies have not changed. They changed their location in the PPS, but not any changes. I know that in earlier versions there were discussions about having additional residential lots on a farm or additional consent permissions. That is not the case, so that did not make it through to the final version. The next sort of area of interest is on the next page, and that would be the employment lands section. And we, in the official plan for Strathroy-Caradoc, we don't have any employment areas the way that it's described necessarily. We have employment lands, but they're not designated to the same level. However, there is now a permission to change the designation of employment lands without going through a municipal comprehensive review, because as I mentioned before, that no longer shows up in the document. It essentially means that if somebody had industrial lands and they were looking to convert them to another designation, there was basically a prohibition of doing that in certain employment areas. That policy no longer exists. They have also included details about asking or requiring that lands within 300 meters of an employment area avoid any impacts on, if they're being redeveloped, that they avoid impact on the employment areas. Meaning if we have a sensitive land use like residential, if it is moving within or being established within 300 meters of the employment area, they need to show how they're not impacting the current or future viability of the employment areas. Just now kind of moving to housing, there was additional words included similar to agricultural areas with ARUs, but the criteria are slightly different for those areas that are found in settlement boundaries, and so there's some details surrounding that as well. It does allow for additional dwellings, standalone dwellings, to be located on lots, which now lines up with the Planning Act. Speaking of another alignment, the provincial policy statement used to have a definition of affordable, which was different than the Development Treasures Act, and so now the two are more aligned. So that takes out that piece. The servicing hierarchy was adjusted slightly as well. Still, full municipal services is the the king or queen of the options, and is the highest of priorities for future development. But there was additional wording put in the policies put in that spoke to the allowance for condominium developments, for example, being on their own system, so a private system run by that condominium that would be then backed by the municipality if there was ever anything to go wrong. That's a big area, and so we can certainly raise that in a future time, but that's certainly not something that we have seen in the municipality at this point. And certainly planning staff's position is along with, I think, engineering's, is that full municipal services is where development should be going when talking about settlement areas. Nonetheless, that kind of speaks to sort of the housing and servicing area. And then just looking forward on the next slide, all decisions after October 20th need to be in conformity or consistent with this new PPS. You'll note in some of the reports you may have seen already, I already include some detail indicating whether or not this file would or wouldn't be in line with that future PPS, even if we're making the decision, you're making the decision this evening. So we'll continue to go forward. That means that there's no more meetings after tonight, and every other meeting going forward would be subject to this new PPS. The province, I've noted here about consulting on transition policies. They have yet to include transition policy, so this is a document that's out there, and we will take it and move it forward as it's intended. But we also know that they were asking for comments on the transition policies, and so there may be further documentation to assist us in applications that were heard prior to this point. An example of that might be a situation where we have a decision made by council and it was appealed. Now that decision of the OLT would be based after the date of the PPS, and how does that work? And so the answer is we can come up with our own ideas. However, the province has asked for comments on that, and they will, assuming that they take that, and then put forward additional documentation about how the transition would work. So updates to official plans and zoning bylaws would be necessary in order to have the documents that are currently in full force and effect. They need to be updated to reflect this new PPS. We have open official plan amendment, and you know about the zoning bylaw program that we have open, so these may be the avenues in which we address this PPS conformity exercise. And I kind of spoke about applications for settlement boundary expansions may be coming forward through private official plan amendments. That could mean that come October 20th or sometime around there, additional people that are interested in expanding the settlement boundary to include their own lands, we would start to see official plan amendments, private official plan amendment applications to request that boundary expansion include their own sites. So I think that's the quick and summary kind of version of what's out there. I'm certainly able to take any questions and either maybe come back if they're complicated, but if they're straightforward, I'm happy to answer them today.
Yeah, we're going to open up the questions, but I'm going to indulge myself and ask my two questions first. And the last bullet was the most important one. I want to concentrate on the settlement boundary. So ostensibly after October 20th, any landowner who has a piece of property adjacent to the current settlement boundary can, for lack of a better word, petition to have their properties put in the settlement boundaries. That is right. It's what the bill reads. I just want to clarify that for everyone.
Yeah, so the provincial policy statement has some criteria, and we kind of talked about it briefly during the other section of it. So would it necessarily need to be adjacent? It probably, that's one of the questions that would need to be addressed, and something that council will need to include in their consideration, but it doesn't preclude anyone from making an application, even if they're not adjacent to the settlement boundary.
And then I guess the second part of that is, I think we all have, how does this affect the settlement boundary process that we're undergoing now? Because I've had a lot of questions from public and landowners about the current settlement boundaries. I don't know if you want to answer it or the CAO, but I know that's the fallout of all of this, right? What does it do to the settlement boundary review?
I'll give it the short answer and then allow the opportunity for the CAO to add a little bit more color if necessary. I think it's something that we're working on right now with the WSP and the other consultants to really get a grip on how it will affect that process. But we have to keep in mind that that particular process, that municipal comprehensive review, would be the direction that council has. In the end, it would be the direction that council has as to where future expansion of the settlement boundaries are going. And so it is an important exercise.
I don't know if you want to add anything, CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. And just further to that, we will be bringing some of those conversation pieces back to council in the staff report so that council can have some of those discussions.
Any other questions with Councillor Palmer?
So if we had an application to include somebody's property in a settlement boundary and council declined that application, is there a process in place like the OLT where then somebody would then, would the public then have a process for appealing that, or would our decision be final?
There's two parts to that, through the chair to council. First part is an application would be made for an official plan amendment. Official plan amendments are, a decision is provided by Strathroy-Caradoc Council, and if that was a denial, then the applicants or owners of the property could appeal that to the Ontario Land Tribunal, as you suggested. So that's there. If it was approved, then it would then move forward to County Council, and if it was approved at County Council, if it was adopted, got to use the proper terminology, at Strathroy Council, and then approved at County Council, the appeal period for that and the appeal rights for that would be the owners and specified persons, and that's a terminology that excludes adjacent property owners unless they are somehow directly affected by that piece. Say, for example, if the official plan amendment somehow extended beyond the property to adjacent properties, then those owners of those properties would have the ability to appeal as well. But if you were just someone else who's outside of the area of that official plan amendment and not impacted by it, then you would not be able to appeal that.
Any other questions? Councillor Kennis.
Just kind of a question, but it seems to me that the power is really continues to shift to the landowner as opposed to us, I guess, or a council. And so I don't know if I'm misinterpreting that, but certainly would appreciate any comment on that.
Through the chair, it gives landowners additional opportunities to come to you to ask for permission for this. You are still the ones that get to make the decision whether it's a municipal comprehensive review that's done and you're making that decision, or if there are private official plan amendments, you're still the ones that you're still in the driver's seat when it comes to that. I do understand where you're going with this potentially, and suggesting if you were to turn it down, then it goes to the Ontario Land Tribunal. I see that too.
Any further questions? Councillor Wilsey.
To the chair, to the CAO, just a question on the timing of that staff report that's going to give us more detail. Do we have an estimated time or know when that's going to be coming to council?
Through the chair to Councillor Wilsey, I think we were looking at November to bring back something to council.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, seeing none, I think since this council is maybe the third or fourth change the province has made to their land use or provincial policy, so hopefully that's it for a while. Community services, Poppy project update. Receive the report for someone to bring the motion. Councillor Kennis, second by Councillor Pelkman, all in favor, carried. I see Caitlin back there. Do you guys want to make a presentation on an important project?
Absolutely. So last November, we started a project through Museum Strathroy-Caradoc in the Events Department of Community Services. And then we put the call out to the community for 3,000 knit and crocheted poppies. And as of today, we're nearly 10,000 poppies have been donated locally, nationally, and internationally. So we're really excited about this project. It does bring us to our next part, though, where we now need to attach 10,000 poppies. So we're looking for some community support and definitely some help with zip ties as we attach 10,000 poppies to netting. These poppies will be draped from Town Hall, the bell tower at the front, and then a second display will be in Mount Bridges at the Cenotaph. Any questions?
That's awesome work by the community. It's also in conjunction with the Legion, correct? The Legion was involved in the project.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Any questions? Okay. We'll put out the call for volunteers. I'll put it on my social media. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. And I see Director Lilborn there who will update us on the Jays Care Foundation. Motion to receive the report. Councillor Pelkman, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? Carried. Director Lilborn.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just in the report in front of you this evening is simply a report requesting that council give staff approval and direction to work sole source the earthworks with regards to the Jays Care Foundation for Yorkview Community Park Bantam Diamond and the Royals Field Diamond down in Alexander Park. Marco Clay has been the provider of our baseball material for a number of years. We've used them exclusively for our ball diamond earthworks in the past, and would like to continue doing so into the future. It ensures that all of our diamonds have the same material and quality of surface across the municipality. So I am available for any questions should council have any.
Any questions of the director? Seeing none, does someone wish to make a motion to either approve or deny the request? Councillor Kennis.
To approve.
To approve. Seconder to approve. Councillor Pelkman. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Director. Engineering and Public Works. Motion to receive the report on the extra strength surcharge agreement with Burnbrae Farms. Councillor Pelkman, second by Councillor Hippel. All in favor? Carried. Director Ortiz.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through Your Worship to Council. Staff presented a report to Council earlier in August this year regarding an extra strength surcharge agreement with Burnbrae Farms. That was returned to staff requesting a report to confirm the sanitary system could handle the wastewater flow. So Burnbrae Farms is an existing egg grading facility that's been in operation for a number of years in Strathroy. They've been very receptive and they've been working with staff effectively following the general principles of an extra strength surcharge agreement. The new agreement will formalize these principles. It'll allow for the municipality to be reimbursed for sampling costs and testing. Burnbrae, their current facility, it's relatively low flow, about 500 cubic meters per month, give or take, so the equivalent of about 20 houses. So we have no concerns with potential impact to the wastewater system or entering into an agreement with Burnbrae Farms. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions of the director? Councillor Wilsey.
Just surrounding the termination clause. I know we talked about this when it came up before because we know that Burnbrae is building a new facility in a different part of town. When I read through the termination clause, it can only be terminated if Burnbrae is polluting and Strathroy determines that they need to be within spec and we won't give them the extra strength anymore, or if they're in arrears. It doesn't say anything about if production stops or, and I guess the solution that's coming, the situation in my head is they build their new facility, they move into it before this agreement ends, and then they're still paying for testing and everything else, even though it's an empty building. And I'm just trying to present that just to make sure that we're looking out for and being fair to our employers in town.
Director, did you have a comment?
Thank you, and through the mayor to Councillor Wilson. We would have to take a look at the specific clause for cancellation. The intent would, of course, to be to work with our partners in the community and ensure that if they were to end a contract, it would be mutually beneficial and there'd be no additional cost to the employer. I can say that, again, working with Burnbrae to date, they've been very receptive and we've had a good relationship with the company.
Any other questions? Councillor Derbyshire.
Thank you. Through you to the director. I just see here where it says that we only test twice a month. We take 2 samples to see what we're giving out. I realize that's probably a standard thing to do, and I'm not trying to say anybody's doing anything wrong. I just wonder if maybe we shouldn't have more of a monitoring system to where they're actually coming out as opposed to just pulling 2 samples. Like I said, I'm not saying anyone's doing anything nefarious, but if I knew the 3rd Thursday of every month gets sampled, we would definitely make sure we weren't letting all our stuff go that day. Just, you know, I think maybe if we're gonna charge by the levels that they're putting out, then maybe we need to monitor the levels more on like a, I don't know whether it be 24-hour, whether there's something we can put directly in their exit point to monitor not only them, any deals that we have with this where they are putting out portions where we're charging for excess or over and above instead of just twice a month. And I know they might be random twice a month, but it's still only twice.
Director Ortiz.
Through the mayor to Councillor Derbyshire. You are right, there are random samples throughout the month. So they don't, the businesses don't get a heads up, so it is meant to be and intended to be a random and representative sample of the wastewater system. Of course, you're right, there is potential for some higher flows or higher loadings at times in that we're not sampling. The cost of sampling, it could get pretty expensive. If, each sample that's taken for BOD as an example, there's a cost to it. If we're going to be taking daily samples, it would be a fairly expensive endeavor. I'm not sure if a continuous monitoring process would be feasible in this type of situation.
Any other questions? Seeing none, there are 2 motions. Council entered into an extra strength sewer surcharge agreement with Burnbrae Farms, and further the bylaw number 77-24 be referred to the consideration of bylaws section of the agenda for approval. Motion, Councillor Kennis, second by Councillor Elkman. All in favor?
Question.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Gary.
What about my question about the termination clause, where there's no termination except if they're either in arrears or violation?
You'd have to ask for a motion for amendment to that, so. The question's one thing, you'd have to bring an amendment to the motion to ask for that to be in there,
Can I
Councillor.
ask for that now?
We have a motion, so you have to ask.
So can I ask for a friendly amendment to adjust the term?
I'd like to vote on it the way it was.
Okay, okay. We have a motion in front of you, all in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Reports from boards and committees, there are 9 reports in front of you. Motion of the reports from boards and committees be received for information. Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Pelkman. Any questions on any of the reports? See none, all in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Deputy Mayor McGuire, the meeting, any meeting highlights from County
No,
Council?
there's a document provided and provides good.
Inquiries or comments by members, since you're warmed up? Deputy Mayor, would you wish to go first?
Nothing, thank you.
Councillor Pammer.
Nothing, thank you.
Councillor Derbyshire.
Just leave it for now.
Okay. Councillor Pelkman.
Yes, thank you. With it being leaf season, I would remind people not to rake their leaves onto the street. It clogs the gutters and it makes the streets very dangerous for those who are on bicycles or motorcycles or now e-scooters. And also for those attending the transfer station, have some patience, as I know the lines can get long. But also if you are bringing a trailer and you say it's all brush, please make sure it's all brush. Don't include bits of metal and that and then just dump it off. I know they had to sort a whole trailer full of stuff this weekend where somebody just dropped the trailer off and left it on the ground, and then a couple of citizens and the staff at the transfer station were just finishing picking it all apart when I got there. But you know that makes a dangerous situation for somebody who may be not expecting sharp pieces of metal or glass in with brush.
Councillor Brennan.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd just like to draw the public's attention to the fact that we've engaged some consultants, and we've begun doing a service delivery review in the municipality. We had our first meeting the other night, and a standard thing, you do the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats kind of analysis of the municipality and our operation. And I was really pleased to see that there were, obviously some great strengths, committed and competent staff. Staff are skilled and dedicated to serving the community. Strathroy's in a strong financial position. These sorts of things. Of course, when we engage in a process like this, the information is drawn from various sources by the consultants, from community surveys, from interviews with councillors, staff, department heads, and of course, recommendations are made for improvement. And I think the public has to understand that we are trying here as an organization, as a corporation, to engage in a process of self-analysis to see what we can do better and to acknowledge the things that we've been doing well. And the recommendations that come forward, which maybe go across the entire organization or in some cases are specific only to departments, are kind of an amalgam of all the feedback that the consultants have gotten from their inquiries. So I would encourage the staff and councillors, obviously, but mainly the public, to take a look at this document. I think it's got a lot of really good stuff in it, and I think people need to understand that we're not just sitting around engaging in the status quo here. We're trying to grow as an organization. And we have weaknesses as well, and they're acknowledged in the report. I think anybody would be foolish to think that an organization doesn't have any weaknesses. And so we're trying to identify ways that what some of our weaknesses are and the challenges are, and then come up with recommendations of how to improve them. And Certainly, you know, there may be resistance from some staff and community members when it comes to adopting, say, new technologies. I think we've all engaged that within our own lives, you know, and maybe it's even not even the idea of resistance. It's just sometimes it's really hard to do new things all the time, and the pace of change lately, I think over the last 5 years, has really been accelerating. I know in my life, the last 30 years, I've had to switch from digital to analog to digital, and it just seems it's getting more and more intense about how to, you know, use technology wisely. So there's a great deal in this report talking about how IT, you know, information technology, can be better used to get all kinds of efficiencies and improvements within the municipality. And it's going to be a really great job of teamwork between council, who we need to do things better, we need to use our council fund more effectively, and directors and staff to find a way of executing the business of the municipality better. But in no way is this process intent at trying to target anybody or say someone's doing a bad job. The intent is to try and find ways that we can improve. And I think ratepayers should feel that it's a good thing that we're doing, and I'm hoping and I'm excited to see what comes out of it. So I just thought I'd do a little brief report on that, because that's a process that's ongoing right now. We're going to have meetings over the next couple of months. But I would encourage anybody who follows council to grab a hold of that document, read it through, and look at the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. And if they have any ideas, please email us, because the process of trying to collect information and good ideas has not ended. And I know we've done surveys already, but any recommendations that people have, you know, let's fire off emails and try and get those ideas into the hopper, so that when we get to the final report, we've heard from as many voices as possible. I've talked far too long, but thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Wilsey.
I just wanted to take an opportunity to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving coming up next weekend, and following that, the following weekend on the Friday and Saturday will be Apple Day, so you'll be seeing scouts all over Strathroy and Mount Bridges selling apples just like they did earlier tonight.
Councillor Canis.
Just want to commend everyone involved for all of the things that happened on the September 30th, the Truth and Reconciliation Day. It was really heartening to see so many people wearing orange shirts on the 30th, and the flag raising ceremony here on the 27th, and the brief talks given by the two chiefs that were present. It really, I guess it's really heartening to see the relationship growing between all of us and the First Nations in our community. So I hope that continues to develop and grow over the next number of years.
Councillor Hippel.
Thank you. I'm actually just giving a shout out from the parents and the children and the community within Caradoc North Public School. They had a thank you gathering for, they lost a piece of equipment, play equipment on one yard, and then another piece had been there for, I'm thinking 50 plus years, and it needed to be taken down. So in 1 year, in one school year, they lost two very large play equipment for the children. And to some that would be like, oh, you know, they're kids, they can just run around with soccer balls and what have you, but no, this is really important. And they wanted me to express to the whole municipality a huge thank you, because not only did you know, families raise money, but businesses, new businesses that have been here for a very long time through the whole entire municipality donated, so that they could get the equipment up and in perfect shape for the kids starting in September, and so they could be ready to go. And I mean, this is huge. This isn't a small amount of money, it's a large amount of money. And it really was a really huge positive thing, because we are talking about our future generations, and that is key. So a huge shout out from the families, staff, and admin at Caradoc North to the whole municipality for helping out and pitching in a hand. So thank you.
Yep, I have no inquiries and comments, so schedule of meetings of note. Our Finance Committee meeting is next Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 at 5 p.m. We'll now make a motion to move in camera. The council move into closed session at 7:15 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the following. My script. One item in accordance with council's procedure bylaw to approve in-camera meeting minutes of September 16th, 2024. One item pursuant to section 239(2)(e) of the Municipal Act regarding litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and section 239(2)(f) of the Municipal Act 2001 regarding advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. The OLT appeal of refusal of ZBA 09-2024 for 22226 Adelaide Road. I imagine we're going to want to recess, so we'll have a motion that first that we go into closed session. Councillor Pelkman, second by Councillor Kenneth. All in favor, carried. Motion that council recess at 7:16 for 15 minutes. Councillor Pelkman, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor, carried. Just ask everyone stay put till we're all off there. So. Motion the closed session adjourn at 8:12 p.m. Then bring the motion, Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Hippel. All in favor? Carried. In closed session, council received an update from legal counsel. Direction was given to legal counsel to attend the OLT hearing to defend counsel's position. Motion of the direction, sorry? Oh, and the meeting minutes were approved. I apologize, missed that part. Motion of the direction in closed session be approved. Councillor Kennis, the deputy mayor, all in favor? Carried. Consideration of bylaws, motion to bylaw number 77-24, bylaw number 95-24, bylaw number 96-24, and bylaw number 97-24 receive first, second, third, and final reading. Someone to bring the motion, Deputy Mayor. Second by Councillor Kennis. All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn at 8:13. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? Carried.